It's Bengals and Commanders on Monday Night Football. This crossover Thursday presented by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. All right, David, let's dive into on the Commanders side the three most important things. If they're going to win, if they're going to improve to 2-1 and send the Bengals to somewhere that even though they've started 0-2 in back-to-back years, and this is their third straight year at 0-2, they've never started 0-3. So the pressure is on the Bengals to keep that streak going as much as it is the 0-2 starts that they always seem to get off of. But what are the three most important things for the Commanders to win on Monday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pressure is on the Bengals. I think that's something to remember heading into this matchup as well. And I think the three things the Commanders got to do: continue to get Jayden Daniels the opportunities to make plays for his offense, and trust that growth is going to continue to be there. Score at least three touchdowns, which might be a tall task. And I think you got to frustrate Jamar Chase. You know what I mean? I think those are the three things. Again, get Jayden Daniels those opportunities to make plays, score those tutties instead of those field goals, and frustrate Jamar Chase in front of his home crowd in prime time.
Yeah, I like it. I think if you're scoring, if you're putting up points, especially early, you're getting, I don't want to say getting in Jamar Chase's head, but getting under his skin a little bit, not allowing him to get going early. Yeah, that's the recipe, especially if you can get that ground game going. And that's that goes into where I'm at. The most important things for the Bengals to win this game. Number one, it starts on offense for me. This offense has to do sort of what it did against the Chiefs, where they did produce some explosive plays. Jermaine Burton had a 47-yard reception. Mike Gesicki had a 30, I think it was 37 yards, but had a really big play as well, 35, something like that, to get them into the red zone. But the thing they didn't do is convert in the red zone, especially early. And so score touchdowns. As simple as it is, it hasn't been easy for the Bengals to do. And even on one of the touchdowns they scored on Sunday, they had to go for it on fourth down inside their own 5 to get it. So you got to score touchdowns and generate explosive plays. That would be number one. Number two is stopping this run game. And that's Jayden Daniels. That's Brian Robinson. That's Austin Eckler out of the backfield. That's all of those things from a pass catching standpoint. I'll group all of those guys together. You can't let that happen and that get going, because if it does, then it's going to potentially open up stuff downfield. And the Bengals have been good at containing that for 2 weeks. It has to be 3. The last thing you want is for Brian Robinson to be running for 5.5 yards per carry or something like that, which isn't crazy when you look at the state of this Bengals defensive line. And then 3, make Jayden Daniels uncomfortable. Get pressure on him. Don't let him stand in the pocket all day. And it's been a mixture, because Trey Hendrickson has been good in back-to-back weeks. Last week, he was able to get to Patrick Mahomes. The week prior, did not get to Jacoby Brissett. They had 1 sack on Brissett, and it was where he kind of slid down and was tagged down by Dax Hill. You need to get some pressure on the rookie, make him feel it early. So he's questioning things a bit. And I wonder if they can. Well, I know they can do it. I wonder if they will do it. And so if they can get pressure on him early and slow down the run, I think that would be huge.
You know, I think if the Washington Commanders make one request in that stadium on Monday night, it would be don't play the Monday Night Football music. Because here's the thing. Jayden Daniels is a cool cat, right? I've actually had this analogy all through training camp. I shared it with Jayden's mother, and she loved it. She's like, it was spot on. And I said, Jayden's the kind of dude that if he wakes up in one day and his house is on fire, he's going to collect all of his valuables. He's going to collect whatever pets or anything that he loves in his house. And he's going to walk very slowly out of his house, because nothing gets this dude to panic. Like, nothing makes this guy panic. But again, first NFL game on the road, you saw that clock speed up. Again, I don't get to panic. Like, I don't get to the level where I say he was panicking, but you definitely saw that clock was running very, very fast internally. It's your first primetime game. It's your first Monday Night Football game. And any football fan grew up watching Monday Night Football. You hear that Monday Night Football music, and James, I mean, you're human, man. It just does something to you, and you're in the jungle. You got these Bengals fans. Yeah, man. So, I mean, Jayden's gotta keep that poise. So far, he's been able to keep it. I haven't yet to see a moment where I'm like, all right, he shook a little bit. But if there's an opportunity so far in his career, this is definitely the biggest one. And if the Bengals can get after him early and maybe get a big explosive from Jamar Chase, right? Because nothing gets a young quarterback going more. And you see that other quarterback, that other LSU Heisman quarterback, throw a deep touchdown pass. You want to go out there and you want to match him 1-for-1. That's obviously the biggest leg up. But for the Commanders, there would be nothing greater for them than to hear Bengals fans booing at the half, right? That would be the biggest coup for them to get in during this game, because that gives you the leverage coming into the second half, and that's exactly what they're looking to do. And yeah, I mean, I think you said Brian Robinson, they were able to run the ball really well against Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and this banged up Cincinnati Bengals front man. I'm just wondering, is it just going to be more of the same? Because I mean, 7 drives, 7 possessions, 8 if you count the kneel down at halftime, but 7 real drives for the Washington Commanders. Usually you get like 12 in an NFL game. They definitely look to reduce that game against the New York Giants. So if they're looking to do that against the Giants, you know they're going to look to do it against the Bengals.
Yeah, and so starting fast in a game like that, where it is slower and there are going to be fewer possessions, the Bengals have to start fast. And that's one of the things that the Patriots did so well, is they got off to their start and it was just kind of 7-0, and it's just kind of lulling, and that's what it was. And then you look up and it's like, man, if they don't score here, they're down 2 scores. If they don't score here, the game's over and they're going to lose to New England. And that happened. And I'm not comparing Commanders fans. I'm not comparing the Patriots to the Commanders. I think the Commanders are a better team. But the point is the same. If you can shorten the game, get off to a good start, take the crowd out of it a little bit, then man, that is the recipe. And just going back to what I said earlier, the pressure is on the Bengals, because they can not dismiss. And Joe Burrow certainly didn't dismiss the 0-2. I mean, he was as frustrated and as frustrated is the word I'll use. Frustrated as I've ever seen him, outside of maybe Super Bowl 56. And so it's not like he's brushing off 0-2, but I think there are some people that are like, all right, they've been in this position, they know how to respond, but you still got to go respond. And that's what I think is important here. If you're the Commanders, you want to plant that seed of doubt midway through the first quarter, and then have that doubt just extend midway through the second quarter. And then, like you said, does it get to halftime where there's real pressure mounting? I do wonder now, do I expect the Bengals to come out and play well? I do, but there is no doubt more pressure on them going into this game. It's a must win, because if you fall to 0-3, it's really, really tough to envision the scenario where they find their way into the playoffs of the AFC.
Yeah, no, I 100%. It is a must win for the Bengals. It's definitely a want to win. I kind of talked to Commanders fans. The over under preseason was 6.5 wins for the season, and I said I think they hit the over, but I kind of have them right at 7 wins. And there were 8 games against playoff teams last year. There were 2 games against teams with winning records that missed the playoffs. And I said the Commanders need to split those 2 games, go 1-1. This is the first one of those games. So if they can win this one, you get that split out of the way. You already have that split in the bag, going away for the rest of the season. So if you can pull this off, and again, all the pressure is on Cincinnati, because just look at the spread, man. Washington is not supposed to win this game. And no offense intended for anybody, but in the grand scheme of the NFL community and the national ecosystem of football, Commanders fans know it. The Patriots and Commanders are kind of in that same community. They're in that same group of teams that nobody really respects and thinks much of. You beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and as much as Commander fans would love to say, well, now the national media will talk about Washington. No, actually what they'll do is they'll talk about how bad Cincinnati may actually be this season, which is why there's even more pressure on the Bengals. And it's going to be a fun environment, man.